Welcome everybody to Parklands Clarendon. This is a development based out of Brisbane in Australia. So first of all, let me introduce you to Peter Brown. Peter Brown is the project manager. Peter's been involved in development in Australia for over 20 years. He's been in charge of some of the biggest developments in Western Australia as well as Queensland. He's a member of the Institution of Western Australia and the Property Council of Australia. Heaps of experience, and he's the guy who's going to be driving this project forward and who's going to be looking after your investments as well. Just to give you an idea about some of our partners, our lawyers, civil engineers, surveyors and main engineers and town planners. So these are the people that are doing all the work so far. Some of these people are already on site doing work as we speak, and obviously Fraser Lawyers are a big lawyer in Brisbane, and that's where you'll be sending your funds to if you did invest with us. Also, these are our builder partners. So in Australia, if you're not aware, how it works is that when you buy a piece of freehold land in Australia, you then engage a house builder who will build a house for you. We recommend these 6 house builders that you can see now. Some have been around for over 50 years. You can also choose your own house builder, but these are the ones that we recommend for this area in Brisbane. So why invest into Australia? Australia at the moment, obviously there's a lot of things happening in the world with regards to the COVID-19 virus. Australia has dealt with it very well. It's come through very quickly, and they're about to start opening up. So for example, in Queensland at the moment, people can start moving about. People can travel 50 kilometres already. In the next couple of weeks, people will be able to move a lot further. Construction started again. Shops are starting to open and people are going back to schools. What that means is the economy will be coming back a lot quicker than most other countries, because it's opening up very quickly. And we've only really been closed in Australia for about 4 weeks. On top of that, things like track record. So the track record in Australia, a lot of people have invested into Australian property over the last 30, 40 years and done very, very well. It's a very, very safe place to invest. The legal system is very safe, and it's got a very democratic government. On top of that, currently, the Australian dollar is very low against the Malaysian ringgit. So it's a very good time to put your money into Australian dollars. Queensland is the fastest growing state in Australia. Another 1.5 million people expected before 2036. It's got the biggest commitment for infrastructure going on. They're actually building a huge second runway at the moment at Brisbane Airport, which is going to allow people to fly in from places like San Francisco direct. And they're looking to build at least 50,000 new houses a year at the moment, because there's a massive shortfall of houses because people are moving in to Queensland. On top of that, land prices are really going up, and it is the best place to live really because it's the sunniest state. That means we get more days of sunshine than anywhere else in Australia. In terms of migration, this is internal migration. More people from other states in Australia are moving to Queensland now because it's a very nice place to live. I mentioned the weather, it's a fantastic lifestyle, and obviously the job opportunities as well. If you've never been to Queensland, there's a lot of things to do in Queensland as well as Brisbane. There's places like the Great Barrier Reef, Cairns, Port Douglas. You've obviously got the Gold Coast, a lot of places. You've also got places like Toowoomba, which is known as the Flower City. It's the biggest city, inland city in Australia. This is the famous Gold Coast. As you can see, beautiful beaches, crystal blue waters, a lot of development gone on here, a lot of money come out of Asia into this area. The only thing I would say into this area is it's more holiday seasonal type of place to invest. So you've got to be a little bit cautious when you invest into the Gold Coast, because you might not find full-time all year round renters. You're sometimes targeting more holiday makers, but you can see why, because it's a beautiful place to go on holiday. So Brisbane itself, very nice city, very clean city, very safe city, and it's a very pretty city. And this is the normal picture that you would see of Brisbane, yeah? All the towers and normal condos. Again, most of these condos are owned by Malaysians, Singaporeans, people from Hong Kong, and of course China. What's sort of happening in Brisbane is the main thing is the population is going up. So if you look over the last 10 years, 9 years, the population's grown by 500,000. So 500,000 people over the last 10 years, a lot of people coming in. That means more houses required. That means more opportunities in real estate. And from overseas, you can see, obviously, British people are the main, apart from New Zealanders, British people are the main people that have moved in. from Asia, mainland Chinese. If you look down at the bottom, you'll see Malaysia starting to come up. We're starting to see a lot more Malaysians moving to Brisbane. And so we see a lot more Malaysians coming in to Brisbane. One of the things you always see when you see pictures of Brisbane, you always see close-ups of the city centre. Now, if you look at this slide, this is the city centre here. Now, what you'll see is apart from this area here, everywhere else, there are no condominiums, okay? Everywhere else is flat and they're all houses. Because Australians do not live in condominiums. We live in houses, we live in landed property, yeah? And now cities stretch out up to 50, 60 kilometres and people live in the suburbs in houses. Now, obviously, most overseas investors will invest into condominiums, especially Asians, because that's what they're used to investing in. Now, one thing you've got to be wary of is you cannot resell your property to a foreigner or overseas investor, only to a local or a PR. Locals will only buy landed property. So when you're looking to buy property in Australia, you really should be looking to buy landed property. So this is a map showing how many people commute from different areas around Brisbane actually into Brisbane. And what you'll notice is one of the biggest areas is here is called Ipswich. Now, Ipswich is a suburb of Brisbane, but it's grown, the population has grown faster than anywhere else in Queensland over the past 10 years. It's now become a city in its own right, and it's still the fastest growing area in Queensland. 155,000 people from this area commute back into Brisbane, yeah? So it's only 25-30 minutes into Brisbane to drive. There's also a train which takes people in. So this area here is a huge growth area around Brisbane. Lots of people are living here, lots of people are moving here, and there's a lot of opportunities around this area when it comes to real estate. So as I mentioned, here's a picture of Ipswich. Now, once you get out of the CBD, what you'll see is there's no high-rise properties. Obviously, we've got a few office blocks, yeah, but it's mainly low-rise, and you can see it's spreading out because the city of Ipswich is now spreading out. And as I mentioned, this is the fastest growing population in the whole of Queensland. This is Ipswich rail station, okay? It's just been modified into a newer. As I mentioned, it's just 30 minutes into the CBD. 155,000 people commute into the CBD. However, more and more jobs are now coming out to Ipswich. More companies are moving out to this area. So one of the biggest employers in Ipswich is the Postal Service. Their main headquarters have now moved to Ipswich, along with quite a lot of other companies who are moving out here. So what you'll find now is that most people who live in this area are actually having jobs in this area. And that's why the areas surrounding Ipswich are now expanding, because people don't want to live now in the centre of Ipswich. They want to live on the outskirts of Ipswich. So to try and show you, the blue areas here, so this is Ipswich, and this is Toowoomba. I mentioned Toowoomba earlier on. This is the biggest city, inland city. It's known as a flower city. It's known as a flower city because all around here they grow flowers and they bring it in here to market. So it's a big area. It's quite an expensive place to live. A lot of people haven't heard of it. So the blue areas are areas that are already, the property prices have already gone up. So these are already growth areas. The red areas that you can see here, these are future growth areas. So if you're looking to buy somewhere where the land or the houses are quite cheap, these are the areas you should be targeting. Then over the next 5+ years, these areas are really going to shoot up in value because you're buying below market value. So these are really good investment areas, and you're still only an hour into Brisbane. As I mentioned, this is the area of Ipswich, which is already fully developed. Yep, house prices are already quite high, as I'll show you in a second. So this is the area that we sort of targeting, and this is where Parklands is. So this area, one of the main areas around here, is Fernvale. So house prices are going up quite expensive there. One of the other things to point out is this piece of water here. This is the biggest lake in the south of Queensland. It's a Weavenhoe lake. It's where 90% of the drinking water actually comes from Brisbane from. I'll explain a bit about this lake a bit later on. But what you're seeing here is this is the growth area, where if you can get hold of property and land in this area now, and we're still only 60 minutes into Queensland, into Brisbane, but what's actually going to happen is people are now just commuting straight into Ipswich and working in these areas. But people want to live on these outskirts because of the lifestyle. So I've just talked to you about lifestyle. This is the Brisbane River, which comes obviously out of Brisbane and goes out into the countryside. So people would like to live with their families in areas like this because it's beautiful. Now this is the Wivenhoe Lake, as I mentioned. It's absolutely picturesque. Now it's not just picturesque. One of the main reasons that people want to live in this type of area is for their families. So families are moving here because not only is it a lake, the lake has beaches. So as you can see on the photograph, people are swimming, children are swimming, we have lifeguards on station. You can also go fishing, there's water sports, camping, playgrounds, there's restaurants, cafes, there's beautiful wineries in this region where you can go and drink wine and taste wine. There's museums, there's an abundance of nature parks. You can actually do skydiving, hot air balloons, and there's quite a few places that do really nice weddings. So you can now understand why families like to live in these areas, okay? Nice parkland areas, and then they commute into work. Some of the services are already in place in these areas. So just to share with you a couple of things. So we've got, as I mentioned, about Fernvale earlier on. The Fernvale shopping centres here with big supermarkets like Woolworths. You've got the Riverlink shopping centre, which is a bit bigger shopping centre. And in terms of school, St Mary's College is within 15 minutes of our site. And within 5 minutes of our site is Lowood State High School, which is a very, very good high school. And as I was saying, St Mary's College is a very, very good college. So there's plenty of amenities in this area already. I mentioned earlier on that Australians like to live in houses, not condos. Let me ask you this question. You can buy in Brisbane a 2-bedroom condo, 800 square foot, for $500,000 Australian dollars. Or you can buy on the outskirts of Brisbane a 4-bedroom house, 3,000 square foot. Here's a house here, beautiful. Now on top of that, 3,000 square foot built up, you have huge land surrounding your house. Both are the same price. Both are the same price. Please ask yourselves, which one would you buy for your family to live in? So what is happening in Australia at the moment is more Australians are now looking for bigger land plots on the edge of cities. This is for a better lifestyle and a bit more privacy. This is already increasing, of course, after COVID-19. 1 acre or 4,000 square metre lots are starting to sell much quicker now on the outskirts of Brisbane. Now, a normal landed property in Brisbane, you are looking around 4,000 square foot. Okay, it's a 400 metre housing lot. When you move further out, you've got lot sizes which go up to 40,000 square foot. So for the same price, you can buy 40,000 square foot bungalow lot as a 4,000 square foot bungalow lot. So now Australians have a choice for the same price. So again, if it was you, which land lot would you choose to build your family home on? Just in case you don't understand how big 40,000 square foot looks like, it's actually half of a football pitch. So imagine you've got a beautiful area surrounded by beautiful lakes, 20 minutes to commute into work, half the football pitch you've just bought, and you're going to build a nice big house in the middle of that for you and your family. That's what people are doing now in Brisbane. So to try and give you an idea about prices, if we look around Ipswich and we look to the more developed side of Ipswich, for 4,000 square metres, you're looking at over 450,000. That's just for the land. That's for 4,000 square metres, which is about 40,000 square feet. Even here, just for 900 square metres, you're looking at 220,000. If we go over to Toowoomba, they're already, for 4,000 square metre lots, well over 300,000. And if we come back into Gayton, which is quite expensive, they're at 550,000. That's just the land. That's not the house. So this is the area we told you that you can still buy fairly low prices, and you've got a huge scope for capital gain. So currently in Fernvale, which is here. They're selling, well, they've actually sold out now. They were selling land lots about 4,000, 5,000 square meters, and they were selling for 270,000 Australian dollars. That's just for the land. So the average price currently that the land is selling for in other areas is 25 ringgit per square foot. Now that will sound very cheap in Malaysia, obviously. The prices we're going to share with you and the opportunity today, our prices start from only 9 ringgit per square foot. That's 9 ringgit. So this is our first stage of our development. So what you can see here is, I'll explain about this park in a second. This is the main highway. These are the internal roads that are being built, and these are the lot sizes. There's 141 lots. So the lots range from 4,000 square meters all the way up to 5,000. The biggest lot I have on sale currently is just over 9,000 square meters. That's 97,000 square foot. That's a big piece of land to build a beautiful big house. Your house size on that land could be well over 1,000 square meters if you wanted it to. So on top of all of this, we are going to build some community facilities in the area. So this will be used by everybody who has purchased one of these 141 lots. There's going to be a little clubhouse, swimming pool, tennis courts, bowling greens. There's going to be barbecue facilities with seating area, free Wi-Fi. So it's a beautiful area where you can come from your homes. It's a private estate, so it's only for the people who live inside the estate and get to use these facilities, which is really nice. This is, of course, if you didn't want to build a swimming pool on your own lot, because some people do. This will be the only development in Queensland that have these facilities. Nobody else has these facilities on their real estate development. Okay, so this is a one-off type development with this. Obviously, this is going to enhance the prices completely and push the prices up, because obviously you can imagine how many people will want to come with families now with this type of facilities. On top of that, we've decided to put a nature trail in, and again, this is for people on the private estate only. So this is 6 hectares of nature trail parks. There'll be picnic benches where you can go and have a nice picnic. You can walk around. There'll be signs for different animals telling you what animals live here. We do get koala bears, for example, and kangaroos, and an abundance of flowers and birds as well. So it's a beautiful place to live. It really is a place for families to come, live, enjoy the environment. And again, this will push land and house prices up. So with this investment, we generally think you've got 2 options. Option 1 is a short-term capital gains investment. Option 2 is a more build a house investment. So option 1, very, very simply, to give you an example, you would buy a piece of land. It's freehold land, already has planning permission to build a house. You buy, let's say, for 5,320 square meters, that's 57,000 square feet of land, for just 235,000 Australian dollars. Okay, so it's very cheap. Expected increase per annum is 15 to 20%. Please remember that our land prices are below value already. Okay, so even on what's been sold on Fernvale, you're already 30,000 below just on this price what's already been sold. So you're buying already with a 30,000 increase straight away. So 15 to 20% per annum expected increase. And then you've got up to 4 years to exit. Now, why I say 4 years? Because at the end of 4 years in Australia, as a foreign investor, you have to sell or build your land. You cannot keep for longer than 4 years. So what we say to clients is that you invest for 3 years, you buy the land, you keep the land for 3 years, and then we'll help you to exit after 3 years, and you make a very nice capital return. The other option is at 3 or 4 years, you can build a house. You may decide to keep it, you like the area, you might want rental income, you can actually build a house in 3 years as well. So what we've done already for people who want to exit in 3 years' time and make a nice return, we've engaged one of the biggest real estate agents in Australia. They're called LJ Hooker. And as you'll see here, they've already agreed to help with either renting or for resale of property. So these guys would help you to sell. Be quite easy to sell. It'd be much easier to sell when all the houses are built, swimming pools up and running, tennis courts. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be wanting to move to this area. So the second option you have is to build a house. So you buy a land and house package, as we call it in Australia. So the land and the house built, you can start from just 420,000 Australian dollars. So that's cheaper than buying a normal condominium in Brisbane. And this is 5,000 square foot of land. You can start building that house as soon as your title is ready, which we expect to be about October this year. Once you build the house, you either decide to rent it out, and again, we will help you to rent it out. We've already got people engaged to do this. You let your tenant pay your mortgage off, or you can keep it for your own use and have a wonderful holiday home or retirement home. We've also got finance available. We use a company called Ladybird Finance. They're a broker. Currently, you're looking about 65% loan to value as an overseas investor. If it comes to rental, LJ Hooker have done their own assessment so far. Please bear in mind this assessment was done before any swimming pool was mentioned, any nature trail, any community facilities. So we expect this to be actually higher because, as I said, there's nothing else like this anywhere in Queensland. So currently they're talking about 550 to 570 a week. That's about $2,280 a month income. And that is based on a 4,000 square meter lot. So if you're buying a 5,000 or 6,000 or 9,000 square meter lot, you can expect to pick up more. This is a company called Auslease. Auslease are a Brisbane company and they offer a 10-year rental guarantee. Auslease have been to have a look at our site. They like our site. On the first phase, where we have 24 housing lots, they have agreed to give us 6 of those lots as a 10-year rental guarantee. That means from the day your house is rented out, they will give you 10 years guaranteed rental income. So even if it's not rented out for those 10 years, they will pay you the rental. They charge 5% fee of your rental income for doing that. The rental is at market value. So based on what LJ Hooker is saying, they'll give you a 10-year lease at $550 every week. This is only available for the first 6 clients who want to buy and build a house. So who's going to rent in these areas? Well, apart from normal families, because obviously it's a really nice area, also retirees. If you look at the screen now, this is the biggest Air Force base in Queensland. There's over 6,000 staff. Yeah, it's about 15 minutes drive away. There's already people renting in the area. These people who come to this air base, they're normally on a 3-year placement. That means every 3 years they move on. So they rent for 3 years and move on. They're ideal tenants to move into your houses. And again, because we've got the swimming pool, because these guys come with families. While they're at work on the base, their families will be at home. Swimming pool, tennis courts, nature trails. Again, ideal surroundings for these people to rent. So just to share with you a couple of images of the type of houses you can build and some of from our builder partners. So again, these are 4-bedroom double garage houses. You can have the option of building a 2-story house if you want, and you can build on 20% of the size of your land. So if your land's 5,000 square meters, you can build on 1,000 square meters, 10,000 square feet. If it was 9,000, then you can build on 1,800 square meters. So imagine you can build, if you wanted to, you could build the biggest house you can imagine. So these are nice. Again, this is a nice 4-bedroom country style house, very nice. This one's a little bit smaller. It's still 4-bed, but a bit more compact, a bit cheaper to build. And this one, again, 4 bedrooms. This is a bit more modern. This is a more modern design because different builders have different designs. So basically you can choose your budget for what type of house you want, the size of your house, and in fact which builder you choose to go with. We will project manage it so you don't need to do anything. And just some interior options, just again to give you an idea. Again, I've added these pictures in here because you'll see, yeah, when you've got a piece of land which is 5,000 or even 9,000 square meters, you won't see your next door neighbors. Yeah, it's completely private and beautiful, and that's what people want. Having said that, you're still very close to other people. 141 sets of homeowners living in this area. So again, very nice open planning, which you get to choose. And again, this one shows you a bit more outside. This is more of a TV room, like a common area that we have in most of our houses. Nice big bathrooms with double sinks just to keep your wife happy. And again, very nice kitchens. Now, we also do pool packages. So again, if you're looking to put a swimming pool into your house, if you're going to rent it out, we don't suggest you do that. But if you're looking to move in, holiday home, retirement home, of course, you can get a nice big swimming pool in your own garden. So the good news is work has already started on this development. Okay, so the civil engineers have already been on board, doing some drainage, and obviously what you're seeing now is this is the internal roads being put in. So they're actually quite big, quite wide, nice roads where your house will link it to your houses. And again, a bit more of the work being carried out. We expect the first stage of this development to be the construction work to be completed and titles to be ready to hand over to you by October. So unfortunately, any investment nowadays comes with taxes and fees. Obviously, we're very transparent. So let me talk you through some of the fees. The legal fee is for your lawyer. He will do the conveyancing and the settlement when it comes to buying the house. Obviously, give you legal advice as well. FIRB is Foreign Investment Review Board. Everybody who buys a property in Australia now gets taxed by the government $5,700. Yep. We will help you to apply for that. It's an online application, but we will help you to do that. There is stamp duty in Australia. It's 2.5% of your land price, not the house and land price, just the land price. And the last one is a foreign buyer's stamp duty tax. Now, currently in Australia, if you buy a property, you also get taxed 7% of the land value when you purchase. So how it works is very, very simple. Once you've choose which lot you want, 5,000 square meters or 9,000 square meters, you would pay, you'd fill out a booking form and you'd pay 10% across to the lawyer's escrow account. Now, we cannot touch that money until you complete on your title. The rest of the balance, the rest of the money is due at completion. Okay, and that, as I mentioned, is expected at 2020. So obviously when balance is due, you'll TT the money across to the lawyer again, and you'll have obviously signed the contracts before you pay the deposit as well. We're going to try and incentivize you why you should buy today. So number one, the ringgit. Okay, it's a good time to be buying Australian dollars. Now, I've just mentioned to you that you shouldn't pay the balance till October. What we recommend you do is put your money into Australian dollars now. So even if you don't have an Australian bank account, you can open a multi-currency account here in Malaysia and transfer your money to Australian dollars now. That means in October, if the Australian dollar has dropped or gained against the ringgit, it won't matter because you already have your money in Australian dollars. So that's what I would recommend. You already put your money into Australian dollars, and then you won't lose out on the currency when it comes to October, because the ringgit is very strong against the Australian dollar at the moment. On top of that, we've got a promotion at the moment. So if you decide to invest with us today, 7% foreign buyer's tax will be discounted off the price. That means the minimum, if you buy a lot which is 235,000 Australian dollars, which is our smallest or cheapest lot we have, which is over 5,000 square meters, you will save 16,450 Australian dollars on the 7% foreign buyer's tax. We'll discount it off the price. This means you could buy a 5,000 square meter bungalow lot, 55,000 square feet that is, from as little as just 208,000 Australian dollars. 580,000 ringgit for a 55,000 square feet bungalow lot.